Okay. So welcome to episode 3 of the Bear Market Builders. Today we have famous foxes on. Like, these guys are one of the blue chips in Solana, and they have some huge things like that they're building. So if you want to give a little rundown on what famous foxes is, go ahead.
Yeah, of course. First off, thanks for having me on here. Famous Foxes, I mean, at its core, we're like the trusted development brand on the Solana ecosystem. And we've existed, let's see, we minted the end of September, early October of 2021. Uh, we minted at a time where a lot of projects were creating like this concept of utility, with staking and a token and all that kind of stuff. But no one was really putting out like any legitimate utility, and so we wanted to change the game up. And so started off with Foxy Swap, our peer-to-peer swapping platform. We then created Ding so people could message each other. We built like a whole ecosystem around multiple collections. We have four collections in total. Our Genesis line art famous foxes, our transdimensional pixelated foxes. We have dens, which are built into like our gamified staking platform, as well as being a Solana and Ethereum based like art gallery, and ways for people to connect via like Twitter and Discord and all that kind of fun stuff in one platform. And then our friends and foes, which are one of one pieces that we collaborate with a lot of artists in the space to create these foxes, in their styles. And there are different ways to also like acquire them within our community for people that are interested in kind of getting them. But yeah, like I said, we're known from the utility side for what we've built so far within our brand. We have whitelist and regular SPL token market. We have a one of one commission marketplace. We're partnered up with Boombox for an NFT music marketplace, which is pretty amazing. We just launched recently our peer-to-peer lending platform, Citrus, and that's for being able to customize terms for borrowing SOL against NFTs or lending NFTs, or I'm sorry, yeah, borrowing SOL for your NFTs or lending SOL against NFTs on that platform, and it's quite robust, and there's a lot to it, but it's a pretty awesome platform. We've got NFT raffles, we have a token flip, a coin flip that's 50-50 double or nothing. We've got auctions, we have, like I mentioned, Foxy Swap, peer-to-peer swapping, Foxy Mint, you can mint your own NFTs, Foxy Send for sending NFTs, or Foxy Share for sharing tokens, and quite a few other like smaller utilities that people just really use within the space. But um, the nice part about the way we've built out like the project is there's a lot of tools to use. They don't cost very much. Having a famous fox or transdimensional fox has certain perks for either reducing that cost to zero or adding in like additional perks for visibility or for different things that you want to do on tools you can't do without owning them. And like I said, we have like this gamified staking platform as well. And our foxes get sent out on missions every week. They bring back chests. People open the chests, and you can win Solana, you can win Foxy, you can win um, merch from us or some products from like our other vendors that we have that are like partners, as well as like some other like fun things within our ecosystem. But our community is absolutely amazing. We've been around for 16, 17 months now, and it's just been like a lot of fun to really build in the space, figure out like what the needs are and improve, for like the current metas and such that are going on, and like building a brand around it at the same time. Since our foxes are like very cute and relatable, and like the IP like works very well from like a non-gender specific intergenerational style within the space. And I should mention within our gamified staking, foxes earn fame, so they become more famous. And once they hit certain levels, the level system is based off of RuneScape's leveling system. They are eligible for upgrading like their look. They can choose to like unlock them, but then not equip them. But Xeno is a very prominent one of one artist in the space. He has created all of the attributes for us for these art upgrades for both famous foxes and transdimensional foxes. So So just want to give a quick shout out to Zeno as he's been amazing to work with and a very talented artist within the space.
Yeah, so I guess let's start from the beginning. How did you yourself find Web3?
Yeah, that's a great question. Uh, so back in like late 2016, I've always been interested in like the finance world. So whether it's stocks or real estate or anything along those lines, like I've always been interested in finance. My undergrad is in electrical engineering, so it's kind of just like work harder to get paid. But then in the world of like finance, there's ways to kind of unlock potentials for earning additional capital based off of what's going on in the space. And as a part of just regular stock trading discords and stuff like that, and trying to figure out like the stock world. And there was like a news article that went out of some like country that was not in the best like financial situation. They had some distress going on, and someone was holding up like a send Bitcoin sign with their Bitcoin address, and apparently they had raised like I don't know $50,000 or something like that, just on this like camera panning over this person, and I thought that was game changing. I was blown away by it because looking at it from a traditional finance standpoint, to be able to send money to someone you don't know, you know through the internet, realistically to another person or through blockchain, uh, was fascinating. I think it really, in my opinion, like disrupts the current financial system. I mean, even to do it in regular sense now, I mean, it would require paperwork and time and all this extra stuff. Like, and this could be done in I mean, for Bitcoin, minutes, and you cheap in comparison to certain things. And again, you don't have to know the person on the other side. So I thought that was like incredible, and so just became immediately interested. Purchased my first bitcoins in January of 2017. Didn't hold them long enough. Again, for as long term bullish as I was, still very new to the volatility that exists within crypto. And watched Bitcoin go from $865 to like 18 grand that year. And just was like absolutely blown away by it. So that's what got me hooked, and I've just been ingrained in crypto like ever since, and absolutely love it. Got involved into NFTs in 21. Again, seeing CryptoPunks existing in 2017, not understanding why people would pay $50 for them, and then in early 21, watching people trade them for 12 to 16 ETH when ETH was like $3,500, and they're making like one ETH profit per trade. I was absolutely like amazed by that. I was like, how are people doing this? Why are people spending so much money on these things? And just dove deeper into it to figure out, if there was a way that me and Foxy Dev at the time could kind of disrupt the game within NFTs, specifically on Solana, primarily from the speed and cost per transaction side that was very appealing to us.
Yeah, that's like you said. It's nice, being able to send money to, like anyone at any time, anywhere around the world, um, with crypto. And how I got hooked was I made like three grand in one night, um, on my birthday actually. Actually, today is my 1 year since I bought my first NFT. Um, so it's kind of funny, and that's kind of what got me hooked. So
What was the NFT?
it was a dope cat. Uh, I bought 7 of them. I think it was 7 of them, and sold them off for seven or eight soul, and that was when soul was like eight or like $100.
$100. Yeah,
So,
yeah,
that was pretty
yeah.
nice. Then I saw all my bags just plummet. But hey, it's okay. I think you already hit on this, but why did you pick Soul?
Yeah, yeah. So the primary reason, like I mentioned before, more so is around like the the tech capabilities, and the community side slash interest that existed on Sol at the time. It really was kind of more up and coming within the NFT space, and the transaction, the TPS that was available then, I think was in the maybe 1,000 to 2,000 range. When you compare it to other chains, like you could just do literally whatever you wanted to do, however fast you could do it, basically, and the cost was almost nothing. We saw projects that mint on ETH burn more in gas fees for them minting than projects would even mint out for on Sol. So like that, literally, like the trash, not trash, but the computing power cost for doing the same thing on one chain was more expensive than on another for the full project. And I thought that was like insane. And then on top of it, like I said, we really wanted to disrupt the uh, the utility angle, and there's no better way to do it than building it on top of, the tech that exists in Solana. I mean, of course, it doesn't have it has its pros and cons, but the pros far outweigh the cons as far as I'm concerned with regard to the chain itself.
Yeah. Um, like you said earlier, like your utilities cost pretty much nothing. It's like 0.02 Sol, um, for like some things like the downloading your uh NFT and stuff like that. Um, so you said you guys have been around for 16 to like 18 months, and that's your main collection. So how long have like TFFs been around?
Yeah, TFFs were actually like the very first thing we did after Foxes. So we did, I think it was around a 3 week, 4 week time span after we launched our first collection. We had a specific weekend where we told everyone to delist. We took three snapshots of our collection that was delisted, and that was the first like reward, if you will, that we gave out to holders. So they were airdropped. I believe it was within that 3 to 4 week time frame. So like about a month after we launched. So they've always been a part of our culture. I'd almost say from day one, but I mean realistically, when you compare the the amount of time in human years, it's basically been about the same amount of time that they've existed. And for what it's worth, on the other two collections as well, our dens minted for our SPL token. I believe they were the first non-Sol mint on Solana, so we minted them in Foxy. Those minted the end of November, and then our Friends and Foes collection we started. I'd actually have to go back and look at it exactly when we started, but it was a little while after that once people started to accumulate Foxy. And the way to acquire the Friends and Foes are to do an auction in Foxy, and the highest bidder basically wins them. The artist themselves gets half, the team burns the other half. And so that's how new Friends and Foes are created.
Yeah. So speaking of TFFs, what are the benefits of holding, say, the main collection and the difference between holding a TFF?
Yeah, great. That's a great question. I'll say the answer is a little complicated because we have so many tools. So for famous foxes, you get for our gamified staking. If your fox is eligible for chests and missions, you will get four chests if your fox isn't like leveled up to a different tier. And then you'll get one additional chest for each tier they are leveled up. You have to unlock both of the tier one traits in order to be eligible for it. You don't have to equip them, but you have to unlock them. Again, more of a complicated thing to try to explain over a space. You get 100% off of our tools that we charge Solana for. That doesn't include certain tools like Raffle and such. Like you get a reduced fee on Raffle. You pay 50% of the fee for that, and you also get put into our featured section. And we added in, if you're a borrower on Citrus, you pay half the fee. So that's a pretty solid benefit there actually for a lot of people that are borrowers, because we do charge 15% on the interest, and so you get half off of that, which is nice. Um, you can change the background on a ding if you wanted to, so you can make it whatever picture. You don't have to use our regular stock image for dings. Um, I'm trying to think of all the main things. You can take a snapshot, so you need to have a Fox in order to take snapshots. And I'm sure I'm missing like a couple of others, but yes, and you get access to our alpha section within our Discord. You know, it allows you to give like DAO suggestions and as well as like votes on like larger items, which we haven't really had many of for like a few reasons, but a pretty solid perks. And um, I'm sure I'm missing probably like 15, but those are like the main perks that I would say makes it quite valuable for Foxes. And what I would just emphasize there is like the gamified staking that we have, like that's one of the larger ways that we give benefits out to holders from what we've created. So we take a portion of funds that come in. Uh, we allocate that towards the chest rewards as well as like a monthly holder only raffle, which you do have to own a Famous Fox, Transdimensional Fox, or Friends and Foes to even purchase tickets for that raffle. And we actually are pulling February's raffle this coming Sunday for 900 Solo Plus worth of NFTs. So pretty solid. And we've been giving out like around, I mean, in just those raffles alone, about 1,000 sold for the past few months. So pretty solid perk there. As far as Transdimensional Fox goes, a lot of those perks are true. For tools, you get 25% off versus 100% off. For our Discord, you only have access to the Federation channel versus our Alpha channel, and kind of a few other things. You can't like vote as an example, or I think we have suggestions kind of set up for both. Um, for Citrus, you don't get the perk of 50% off on borrowing fees. So you'd pay the full fee for that. You do still get the same benefits for raffle half off, and you go into the featured section on there. And you can still do the same thing on Ding as well by changing the background to the non like normal background that we set up for Foxes. And I'm sure again that I'm missing probably a few others that Foxes are going to like slay me for, but I think those are the main perks. Oh, and for gamified missions for TFFs, they only earn one chest, and then for each additional tier, they get an additional chest. So they can right now for going up to tier 1 get 2 chests per TFF. Once we unlock tier 2, they can get 3 chests, and then tier 3 they can get 4 chests. So um, that's kind of how the perks work for that. And then for our Friends and Foes collection, they almost function like a 101 Famous Fox. They get access to our DAO section in our Discord. They get perks from the different tools and things that we have already. And they are eligible to purchase tickets for like our monthly raffles. They can go on any raid they want to. They can go on any mission they want to. That's the perks for like a one of one as well from the Famous Fox and Transdimensional Foxes. That's kind of like a tertiary benefit for like the one of one pieces that exist there. But there's a lot to it, and yeah, I think those are like the main perks for it.
Okay, so a bunch of questions, came up after explaining that, but before we get on to those, everyone in the audience, I would appreciate it if you went up to the top of the space, clicked on that tweet, liked and retweeted it, so we can get a bunch more people in here, so they can hear what Famous Fox is doing. Okay, so I guess let's start with staking and Foxy. Like, what can you do with Foxy?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a few things. So uh, if there are raffles that are going on, so like right now as an example, the one that we have for our monthly raffle, you can pay Foxy to purchase tickets for that. You can't buy those tickets without paying Foxy for them. You can swap with somebody if you have Soul as an example, and you want to swap for Foxy. So someone that has Foxy for sale can certainly sell Foxy if they wanted to. We have a merch bundle that's out right now that you can pay Foxy for. There's not many of them left, which is kind of a fun way to mess with Foxy. You can purchase the tiers, like I mentioned, the art upgrades that we have for foxes. So 10,000 Foxy for each tier, for tier ones, for both famous foxes and transdimensional foxes. We also have like a tail, which is an aesthetic item that also costs Foxy, and 3D foxes right now for famous foxes that cost 10,000 Foxy to unlock. And those can work in like metaverse in like portals as an example, and a few other like metaverses if people rig them properly to display in there. You can also use Foxy to purchase, or I'm sorry, to bid on the Friends and Foes collection. So when new one of one come out, you can use that Foxy to bid on Friends and Foes. But what I would say is there are a few people that have been accumulating Foxy, so it's not the only way to get it is through staking. We have done like some kind of promo things as well, but that's the only way to really get Foxy is through staking. And yeah, we've kind of just built in Foxy as like more of a, if you want to call it like an arcade token, if you will, into like the ecosystem that we've created. But a lot of it is based around our gamified staking. And then, of course, we kind of run these like tertiary raffles and such as like benefits for foxes as a way for us to also burn, more Foxy.
Yeah. So you were talking about missions and getting loot, or what are they called? Loot boxes.
They're called chests. We
Chests.
consider
Okay.
them chests. Yeah, yeah.
So, first question is like, what is the mission? Like, what are the missions? Can you give like an example? And second of all, what can you earn from the loot boxes?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so missions are a 6 day staking contract. So basically, you put your fox into you know into a stake. I mean, it's basically escrowing your fox into a wallet where you can't touch it for 6 days, and there's like really nice clean UI to it, so you can see the foxes and dens that you've put out on these missions and keep track of things. You can jump into your missions page at any time to see how much time is left on them. And what I would say is like those missions are created for folks to really like have stickiness for our community to be able to go in and do these like fun activities. And so what happens is once that 6 days is up, you just go in, you claim your fox. That fox, based off of the mission that you do, gets a certain amount of fame. That's our experience, and the leveling system that we have is based around RuneScape. So the levels themselves, the experience, again, we call it fame, will level you up based off of RuneScape's like experience chart, if you will. And once you get to certain tiers, you're able to do those art upgrades, like I mentioned before. Foxes have a chance of going on like basically one of three different types of missions. We have fame only missions, so you will only get fame. We have regular missions, which will bring back chests with it. And then we have raids, which are like a rarer mission that only a certain amount of foxes can go out on and get rare chests from raids. So with regular mission chests, um, tier zero or like base FFFs get 4 chests. A tier one gets 5 chests. A tier two gets 6 chests, and then for transdimensional foxes, they get one, two, and three, respectively. And in those chests, there is for regular missions, basically um, we've set it up so that way it's currently around 93% chance at getting Foxy. And then the rest of the loot that we have are just in that last like 6%. Now the reason we did that was because it before was around 75% Foxy and 25% everything else, but we've added the ability for folks to get more chests. So the amount of emissions for soul and our other prizes that we have technically is reduced, but it's reduced based off of the number of chests that we are giving out. So the number should be about the same right now. And then as foxes level up, we'll be giving out more rewards for the holders that are actually, you know, playing our system and gamified staking, if you will. Within the loot boxes, so again, you have Foxy as like the majority. You have Soul anywhere from half, 1, and 5 Soul in chests. We have Den interior rooms, which help for missions to be eligible for those missions. We have a transdimensional fox, famous fox, and um, dens as tokens. So you can win them for free from a mission. There's a chance to win one of those. We have a couple of items from partners, such as NFT graphics and slabs, to get like a NFT poster made, or these graded, almost like graded Pokemon cards, but for your NFTs created via slabs. We have our merch, so hoodies, shirts, mugs that you can get via missions as well. You get as like a token, you just go and claim it. And then we have a few items that are like used within our ecosystem. So we have like an unfreeze ray, so on chain, like your fox can be animated. We have a wormhole device, which turns the art into like more of a 101 style fox. It doesn't change the actual fox like stats or anything. It just makes the art look like a 1 of 1. And then we have our famous gems, which they're a little bit complicated, but you can claim a bunch of them to get a 1 of 1 created in the Friends and Foes collection, or you can claim like a few of them to level up your fox if you want to, versus going through the missions and earning fame and unlocking certain tiers for those foxes as well. So a little bit complicated for that. Um, but that's the way it's done. And then for the actual, I apologize because I think you asked this first, but for the actual missions, they are level and trait based. So, like I mentioned, foxes have fame to kind of like count as experience for them. With that fame also means that they level up, and then based off of those levels, these missions that we create have level requirements to go on them. So, as an example, I could have a Centurion Fox mission, with a Centurion Den, or I don't know if we call him a Spartan Den, but Centurion Den, and the Fox has to be like a level 40 plus. So if I just got into foxes and the only fox that I purchase is a Centurion that's like level 0. I wouldn't be eligible for that mission. There's like a few ways that you can go about to like earn fame for that fox prior to sending them on that mission. But more than most likely, you'd have to send them on fame only missions until they get to that level requirement, and then they can go on the missions in order to earn more fame for that specific fox. And so it's kind of again like a gamified way to get people involved and to go on these missions every week to get rewards every week. And it's something I would say to look forward to in the space.
Yeah. Um. So like, if you could have the famous Fox brand on any physical product, what would it be?
Famous Fox brand on any physical product. Um, that's a good question. I would say, I personally think that foxes would do really well as like either Funko Pops. I think like our aesthetic would go really well on like an action figure style like Funko Pop, or um, kind of the other angle of it of our foxes like being like super cute. I think they would work quite well as like Squishmallows, which are I don't know, I don't call them like body pillows, but they're like little, really fuzzy, soft,
Stuffed animal.
squishy pillows.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
love
Yeah,
those.
yeah, yeah. I think it would be perfect. On something like that. So, yeah, I think that's what my answer would be.
I feel like a Funko Pop would be sick, or a Squishmallow, like just a fluffy fox sitting on your bed. That would be sick.
Yeah,
Uh,
100%.
Looking at your website, I see hypometer, and what like can you explain what that is?
Yeah, hypometer. We kind of changed it a little bit. So hypometer was I'm going to call it like an engagement activity that we had created for foxes, and we had different things for foxes to do, go send out tweets as an example, or go do a specific thing. And based on how many foxes had done it, they would kind of try to unlock, these different tiers of potentially like a prize or somebody winning something based off of like whoever is eligible. So if it's like go, follow famous foxes and tweet out like your favorite lore story or something for foxes. We pick, one or three or five winners or whatever to give them out some foxy or to maybe even give them a fox or something like that. But to add like a little bit of a level of engagement for community to rally them. Since then, we've kind of partnered with a company called Questive to create these weekly quests for folks to tweet out about like the rewards they get from missions. Or we've recently added in people that purchase raffle tickets for any raffle that exists to tweet that out, and you become eligible to possibly win about like 100 soul worth of NFTs every week. And so we try to like just increase like the engagement side for foxes within like the crypto Twitter space, but at the same time, offer like a level of reward. And so Hypometer was like an early stage way for us to, enable foxes.
Yeah. So does rarity matter in anything for the foxes?
Yeah, so I mean, rarity is a little bit of a complex piece in general for NFTs. I would say, like, at its core, rarity matters, for people if they are interested in like the aesthetic for the Fox. Like I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, any of the one of ones, so like the rarest of the rares, in our famous Fox and Transdimensional Fox, also count as wild cards in missions and raids. So as long as that Fox is leveled up enough, it can go out on these missions and raids for any requirement. They don't have to have, like a pirate hat as an example or a cope hat. They could just go off on these missions and raids. So the absolute rarest definitely have like a better perk to them than any fox in like the top 50 or 70 or 100, if you will, from our collection. It's just the aesthetic that comes with the fox, the different traits they have, and then the level of missions, like the number of missions, not level of missions, the number of missions that come out, for like those kinds of traits and like the combinations that we use as well with like dens and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So how did you meet like the dev team? Uh,
Yeah, that's a great question. So me and Foxy Dev, we're kind of the two of the three really that started the Famous Fox project, and we met through a crypto trading Discord. Foxy Dev was actually pretty good with the analytics side and for posting, um, uh, I don't even know, like not necessarily like trade setups, but like information about the markets as a whole. We got involved in like trading BSC shit coins, and just really became like super close. From doing that kinds of stuff, and then again at the same time, like that was a little bit after actually. I started seeing like NFTs and stuff going over at ETH early on 21, and so the more that we just became familiar with each other, we decided to try to jump into the game of foxes. So it's just been like from day one. I mean, he has a background in information security, got a background in the business side and engineering. So from a problem solving standpoint and all that fun stuff, really was able to help out to get some things like off the ground from the beginning. But it's kind of been like the rest is history after that.
Yeah. So like how are you guys pushing your tools to I guess outsiders and web 2 people?
Yeah, I mean, pushing the tools outside of Web two people is I would say it's actually quite difficult. You know, a lot of the tools that we have that are not specific around um, like actual like verified collections, so things that aren't like Foxy Swap or like Token Market or Raffle or Citrus. A lot of our other tools, like you had mentioned, the screenshot or not screenshot, but Foxy Save, which is a way for you to save your NFTs into like a local folder or Snapshot, to grab like a list of holder addresses and such. Like a lot of these are no code solutions for people that are interested in coming into the space, to do a thing with it without having to learn Rust or much about like the actual blockchain and the way that things are picked up. They can just jump in, do these actions, and use them for airdrops, use them for token distributions, use them for NFT distributions, like however they want to go about it. We have a lot of like no code solutions for people. But I'd put them more into like the Web 2.5 category, as most of the people that we've dealt with are already in the space to some capacity. They're just trying to do certain things that they're not familiar with, and so we just help out on from that side. Anyone from like the Web 2 piece, I would probably say, for the most part, Boombox is probably the largest contribution that we have for trying to onboard more people, primarily from the music industry into the space. And Boombox just kind of set up like more of a music launch pad, if you will, that just allows people to come in again with little to no knowledge about Solana, and kind of start building out their like Web3 um, identity and persona and business really in the music industry. Outside of that, it's quite difficult to figure out, from like a tooling standpoint for what we offer, how to bring more people in from the Web 2 side. But there's always like little ways like NFT NYC and hosting events and things like that for people that, again, that are, I'd classify them as Web 2.5 versus Web 2.0 people, as they're probably to some capacity interested in crypto and NFTs.
Yeah, like your all your utilities, I feel like are would be kind of hard to push to Web two people because your utilities are more for like the new people of Web three, and um like you said, raffles and token market and all that. Let's go on to the raffles actually. I actually won my PFP from raffles. It was kind of crazy. I was freaking out. And like, how do is there like a way that raffles get like picked like tickets? Is there like a RNG, like a you know what I mean? Like
I was
get
gonna say, yeah, we have a magical hat that
yeah.
we go and pick from. No, yeah, there is. So the way that it's done is with what's called like slot hashes, and it's the best way that you're going to be able to get like on-chain RNG for a thing like raffle, as an example. And yeah, I'll say this. I'll say that it's fairly complex for me to try to explain, as it's been like a hot minute since I've dove deeper into it. But yeah, it is an RNG model that is used for picking winners on raffle. So
I was
it's yeah, it's a pretty solid. It's a pretty solid way of building it out.
I was trying to get the inside scoop of how to win, but it's fine.
It was a good try.
Yeah, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
That's true, Michael Scott.
Yep, I love that show. Um, so you said earlier about the not what was the 900 soul famous Fox raffle you guys are doing soon.
Yeah, yeah. Our February monthly raffle. The tickets end on Sunday at 10 a.m. EST.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask about. I saw on the raffles that it said like a rafflers raffle. Um,
Oh yeah,
like yeah, can you like explain a little bit more about that because I think that's the first time I've seen that.
yeah, sure. So what we've also been doing, so I actually did the drawing for that yesterday, on the first. So we've been holding bi-monthly, so twice a month, raffler raffles. Anyone that participates in raffles for Famous Fox, or for anything on our platform, but raffles specifically, sellers, every 100 SOL worth of NFTs that sellers create raffles for, get one entry, and every 100 SOL worth of buys from the buyer side get three entries into this raffle. and we take a portion of the fees that we bring in, we allocate that towards a prize pool, and we pull winners for all those prizes. So just by participating in raffles, you have a chance to possibly win, some level of NFTs. So the last prize pool that we did, if I'm not mistaken, was like just shy of 300 Sol. It was three famous foxes, four transdimensional foxes. We had two ovals in there, five lilies, and 20K Foxy. And I'm not sure, there might have been like a couple of other prizes in there, but I know that's like most of the prizes that we picked out. So yeah, so just by participating in raffles, every 100 Sol gets you some level of tickets into that automatically. You do have to have your Twitter linked, so anyone that is buying tickets in raffle, make sure you have your Twitter link to be counted. Um, and yeah, like I said, we allocate a portion of the proceeds that come in into that raffle, and it's 100% free. It's just based off of your participation on raffles.
Yep. So I could probably get 3 entries soon. Nah, I lose a bunch on raffles. It's okay though. So Citrus, it's you just dropped it like what, less than a month ago, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yesterday was week three
Week
for
three.
it, so we've had it live for 3 weeks.
So how do you plan to, I guess, boost that and make that bigger than say like Sharkify's system and all that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good question. So there's a few different ways to it. Very first way, I mean, so far we've added in, different pieces that enhance lending, within the Solana ecosystem. Some of the bigger things would be like customizable APY and term lengths for people. That way they can determine, their own risk tolerance for creating loans for NFTs. On top of being able to modify, floor price and all that kind of fun stuff. It makes it more complex, but for the most part too, it allows people that are more serious players to have the ability to kind of build out this like better risk tolerance for the loans that they are creating. And then we've added in, a few other options such as like bulk listing loans. So you can do up to 50, you can create 50 at a time. You can accept up to 50 at a time from a loan side. So for people that are bulk lending, it makes life a lot easier for them. We have a reborrow option as well. So you don't have to have all of the Sol to pay off a previous loan. You can actually like borrow another loan from the platform that's live to repay a previous loan, which you might want to do for like a plethora of reasons. And I think that the biggest thing for us is figuring out like a reward system around that. As of right now, we're doing something very similar to raffle. So like every 100 Sol worth of loans and borrows, we're putting people into a pool to possibly win NFTs again from a portion of fees for that. But that's going to be right now based off of volume. It's going to be based off of a monthly basis versus doing like a bi-monthly raffle. So we'll kind of see how that goes, and when it starts to pick up more. So the prizes will be pretty stacked for it. But at its absolute core, I mean, we have a few other items that we're planning on like adding and bolstering out, and the reward system I think is probably one of the more critical pieces that we have to restructure, just so that way it's a bit easier for people to digest and take advantage of.
Yeah. Like what's been the hardest challenge of, being a founder of such a big project?
Yeah, I mean, personally, it's like I would call it the work life balance, if you will. I mean, this the space itself, doesn't sleep. Crypto's alive 24/7. Our community is international. There's just so many things that go on in the space that trying to prioritize, different things can be difficult, and it's very demanding. I don't think a lot of people put a lot of stock in that. They just assume that products mint out, do the least amount that they can from like a marketing standpoint or whatever, or try to drive hype, attempt to build a thing, say that it fails, and then and then kind of gives up on the project. That's never been us, even from day one. So it's just it can be very demanding at times, and I think a lot of people don't really realize that. I would say kind of like from the project side, that's kind of more so for me personally, but from the project side, the biggest thing for us was actually converting our utility from accepting Foxy to accepting Sol, and then again structuring like we talked about earlier, the different ways that we have Foxy burns built into our ecosystem versus trying to do all of our tools for Sol instead, and and then just using that as like the burning mechanism, if you will. So we realized that with Foxy Swap, it cost 100 Foxy to do when we first created it, and people were still paying like a percentage of Sol for a trade instead of 100 Foxy, and 100 Foxy at the time was like $1, and people were spending $300 to go use a different platform just because that friction. And it didn't make much sense. So then we adjusted our model from there.
Yeah. So it's been 45 minutes. So if anyone else has any other questions, requests, and I'll bring you up. But I appreciate you coming up and supporting. This is my third episode of my new podcast, and you're supporting. So I really appreciate it. So if you have any closing remarks that you want to say, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, from my side, I mean, unless anyone does come up here, like, very much appreciate, um, you bringing me up here. It definitely means a lot. And from our side, I would say for anyone that hasn't, jumped into our Discord, we've got, a fairly active Discord. Even from like the public side. But especially if you get, if Transdimensional Fox or Famous Fox, you'll see a lot more activity in there. And even to not own a Fox, if you have a question, if there's something going on, if something doesn't seem right from like an OTC trade side or whatever, like just ask. Our community is amazing, super helpful. For a lot of new people can definitely be overwhelming, but there are a ton of people out there that like to help and like to help onboard people. And we're all about like that community angle. And so I would definitely suggest people to come over, check us out, check out our website, famousfoxes.com. If you're interested in the lending side, citrus.famousfoxes.com, again, is our newest utility we've put out there. Um, but yeah, I certainly appreciate again you having me on here, and looking forward to checking these out in the future.
Oh yeah, we are just starting. I just like I said earlier in the space. I had a call with Carlos earlier. I think we're getting him on either next week or the next week. So that's gonna be pretty big. You can ask anyone. That's probably here. I was hyped to get you on. Any Discord, I was like, hey, like I was freaking out, because you are such a big project, and uh, you know, just yeah, just the support is crazy. Um, so I need to pick up myself a fox very soon, actually, because these things gonna moon. As soon as I make the soul, I'm 100% gonna buy a fox. Even if it's not like the main collection, I'll definitely pick up a TFF. Um, so if you're listening to this on YouTube, links will be down in the description. If you're here right now in the Twitter space, make sure you follow Famous Foxes. Go join their Discord and go check out their website. Check out all their utilities. Um, you know, I'll see you guys on Sunday. We have Focus 5 coming on Sunday, 3 p.m. Wait, no, he switched it. 4 p.m. EST. And Monday we have Liberty Square. So I hope you guys are ready. And again, I appreciate you. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Appreciate you too. Thanks for having us on.